Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel, your number one source for income-oriented investing. It's time for your favorite video, a portfolio unveil, update number 50. And boy, do we have a lot to discuss today. This is probably the biggest portfolio unveil video for sure of the year. A lot of updates to discuss. Before we do that, a quick disclaimer that this video is for educational and entertainment purposes only. This is not financial advice, everyone. I am not a licensed financial advisor. Very, very important to understand that. The point of the video is really to unveil and show you my personal income-oriented stock portfolio, any changes that I've made recently or any additions, and how much it generates on a monthly basis. Again, informational, educational, entertainment purposes only, not financial advice. The first thing you will notice is a couple of things. First of all, the portfolio value is much higher than the last portfolio unveil. And this is where the big change came in. And in case you missed it, I did discuss it in my recent video 2 weeks ago, my huge 2025 Panama update video. So essentially, our visa or permanent resident process has been completed. We are officially permanent residents of Panama now. And in case you didn't know, to start the process, we had to lock up 200,000 USD dollars in a bank account. Either you put it in a bank account or you invest in real estate. We didn't invest in real estate. So 3 years later, finally, everyone, that 200,000 USD was unlocked. So that is basically, and that's about it was about $270,000 Canadian. So of course, you guys know that I don't leave cash hanging around. I pay my bills and everything else gets reinvested. I don't hold cash. So there was a big influx of cash. That $270,000 was invested, hence the jump, everyone. Another thing you'll notice on the left-hand side, the LIRA is gone. I just have the main portfolio. And by the way, in case you're newer to the channel, this portfolio or the main portfolio is really a combination of my TFSA, my wife's TFSA, Erica's TFSA, and our joint non-registered cash account. So this is the combination. And I used to have a small LIRA, but not anymore. So I was finally able to cash out my LIRA. So in case you didn't know, and I don't want to go on too much about this, but we are Canadian non-residents, and there's a rule that if you're a non-resident of Canada for more than 2 years, you could cash out your LIRA. So that's what I did. It took a long time with the paperwork because I had to go to the CRA first, apply for a document to say for them to verify that I am really a non-resident. So I got that document. They confirmed 100% I am a non-resident for more than 2 years. I had to provide that to my broker, which is Questrade, and they cashed out the LIRA. So that is basically it. So now there's only 3 accounts, everyone, which I consider just one big portfolio, the main portfolio, which is, again, the 2 TFSAs and joint cash account. By the way, the tool you're looking at now, this is the portfolio visualizer, organizational and reporting tool that I use. It's called Passive. Make sure to download it. It's a really cool application. There's a free version, by the way. There's a free version. There's also an elite member version, which actually comes free if you have Questrade Plus, but normally it's $99. But if ever you want to try it, you could get 50% off for 1 year using my affiliate link below. So in case you want to try out Passive, even the free version, use my affiliate link below, because if you try the free version and you like it, you want to upgrade, you'll still get that 50% off. Another tool I use, by the way, real quick, is Stock Unlock that I've been using. I really like this tool. This is a really cool tool that I personally use to see my projected dividends in the next couple of months. So you could check this one out as well. This is really more designed for stock analysis. If you really like individual stock analysis, by the way, this is a really great tool that you could use. And they have monthly plans or annual plans where you could save money if you take annual. And I also have an affiliate link for this one as well. There's also a free version for this one as well. With my affiliate link, no matter which paid plan you get 10% off. So make sure to get yourself a Stock Unlock account. Try it out for free if you want to try it. But even if you're going to try it for free, use my affiliate link, because then if you upgrade, you'll get that 10% discount. All right, everyone. So now it's time to finally view the portfolios. And so we'll start with the LIRA, but like I said, the LIRA is closed. The RSPs and LIRAs are all closed now, everyone. So we finally, everything is closed. And once the LIRA was closed, by the way, I had to pay a 25% flat withholding tax. So as a non-resident, when you close your RRSP or any RRSP or LIRA or RIF or LIF withdrawals, by the way, there's just a flat 25% withholding tax. So once I closed the LIRA, I had to pay that tax. So total contributions to the LIRA, in case you're curious, just like the RRSPs are right here. Right, I had invested $33,000 in the LIRA. The value ended up being $79,000. You do, here is the profit and the return, and this is after the 25% withholding tax. Right, so all in all, green across the board. I'm not going to go into these accounts in details again, but if ever you're interested, you could go to the RSP and LIRA tracker tab. And by the way, this Excel sheet that you're looking at here, by the way, you could download it for free on our website, passiveincomeinvesting.ca. Just click on free tools, and the very first download will be this Excel file, which we're going to look at the main portfolio in a second here. But just to wrap up here for the RSPs and LIRAs, they're all closed now, they're all wrapped up. But in case you want to see the history of them in the last couple of years, you go to this tab here, RSP and LIRA tracker, and you can see all the moves I've made. But of course, if you've been following me throughout the years, you already know all this stuff already. So LIRA, RSP, completely gone now, everyone. So let's look at the main portfolio, probably the reason why you're here, which is a little over $2.1 million in terms of value. The first thing we will look at, and by the way, the LIRA was cashed out, and that amount, which was about $60,000 or something like that, because the value, let me just go back real quick. The value was about 80,000, so you do 80,000 minus 25%, you get about 60,000. So that also was added to the main portfolio, to the joint cash account, right? So in terms of the main portfolio, everyone, let's go through the changes. It's a lot of buying. So in terms of what I bought, QQCL, you have 32,500. HHIS, again, these are big numbers because they're going to include that 270,000 influx, plus a $60,000 influx, plus whatever was left over that month as well. So you have 32,500 in QQCL, 42,500 in HHIS, 50,000 in H-Yield, HBTE, which is a Bitcoin position, 105,000, HBIX, another Bitcoin position, 85,000, MSTE, another Bitcoin position, 30,000, 60K in QDay, and 60K and S-Day, the two new Hamilton 0DTE ETFs. However, I did, to get my exposure to S-Day, I swapped or sold 60,000 worth of HYLD for S-Day. I was pretty much broken even on HYLD, a tiny gain. So I wanted to, everything will make sense in a second, but just to tell you that I did swap about 60,000 of HYLD into S-Day, which are very similar holdings, very similar exposures. And I also sold 50,000 of QQCL. Took a little loss on that one because I am down a little bit capital-wise on QQCL, so just a little bit. Took about an $1,800 capital loss on it and swapped that into QDay. And then I added another 10K in QDay, hence the 60K. So it'll make sense here. I'd like to thank the sponsor of today's video, Hamilton ETFs, who's a good friend of the channel. And in case you didn't know, they recently launched their Daymax ETF series. These are the first 0DTE or daily covered call ETFs in Canada. They launched 3 of them. You have C-Day, which focuses on Canadian dividend stocks, and they're writing those daily covered calls on the S&P 500. You have S-Day, which focuses on US dividend stocks, writes those covered calls on the S&P 500 as well. And then you have Q-Day, which focuses on US technology stocks, and they write those daily covered calls on the NASDAQ 100. So all of them are income oriented and offer semi-monthly distributions. So you're getting more frequent distributions instead of your regular monthly distribution. Also, all 3 of them are leveraged 25% for that high income and potential return. over time. And in case you missed it, guys, I just filmed and launched a video where I do an in-depth Q&A with Nick Picard, the head of options at Hamilton ETFs, where we discuss these ETFs in detail. What they hold, why did they decide to launch them now, fees, taxes, and of course, most importantly, in my opinion, the covered call strategy. So this is all discussed in detail. So if you're interested in any one of these 3 ETFs, you're thinking of adding them to your portfolio, make sure to check out this video to learn all about them in detail. I removed my face, so everything should be clear now. And again, guys, if this is too small, go on my website, download this Excel file so you could follow along together. So let's go through the portfolio, everyone. So now, in terms of my core US equity positions, which is, of course, the majority of my portfolio, you have 6 positions. You have USCL, HYLD, and SDAY. These, to me, are kind of like a unit. They're kind of like an S&P 500 unit. Together, they make up about 560,000 of my portfolio. So about 27% of my portfolio is basically in the S&P 500. So USCL, HYLD, SDAY, to me, kind of like a unit. Then you have 500K still in QQCL, still a big position, and QDAY 60,000. So these together are also kind of a unit. They're like a NASDAQ / technology unit, if you will. So these two combined is also about 27%. And then, of course, you have the very popular, the very beloved HHIS from Harvest with another 27%. So all of these together, right, my core US positions make up just over 80% total. And another thing you'll notice this month is that I've increased my Bitcoin exposure significantly. So right now, I am at approximately just under 20% Bitcoin exposure. So I feel I am personally getting more and more bullish on Bitcoin. I'm going to have some videos coming up on that, explaining why, including a members only video going into detail. And I'm going to have some Bitcoin videos coming up. If you're interested in investing and you're an income-oriented investor like me. So I'm always going to be an income-oriented investor first. So covered calls, 25% leverage. You guys know that is my favorite format. Every single one of these positions have that format, by the way. Covered calls and 25% leverage. So my Bitcoin positions, you have MSTE, which is essentially strategy, or MSTR, with covered calls and 25% leverage. You have HBTE, which I added a lot to, which is now over 6% of my portfolio, which is Bitcoin companies. So you have things like strategy in there as well, but you have Galaxy, Block, which actually just announced they're joining the S&P 500, Galaxy, Marathon, Riot. There's even Bitcoin itself. So I really like this concept of getting Bitcoin related companies. So obviously if Bitcoin goes up, they're going to benefit. And then you have the most boring one, HBIX, which is literally just Bitcoin itself, but again, with 25% leverage and covered call. So my Bitcoin exposures altogether make up under 20%. My wife and I are very comfortable at about 20% exposure to Bitcoin. Again, a little video coming up on that. I'm not going to go into detail, but we are getting, personally feeling more comfortable increasing that Bitcoin exposure. Then, of course, you have Tesla, which announced recently pretty crappy results, I believe. But, this is just a tiny, tiny, tiny portion, 0.5%. It was literally just for fun, I believe. So, another thing is that markets are all-time high. So if you actually look at my portfolio book cost, how much money I actually put in versus the actually current value. And by the way, where do I get the current value? From Passive right here. And I'm filming this live, by the way, while the stock market is opened on July the 24th. And just to prove it to you, I'll do a refresh and you'll see the value should be changing here shortly. So it's about 2.14. And this, again, is the combination of all our accounts. And by the way, if you're curious, if you want to know what do I have in my TFSA versus my wife's TFSA versus the joint cash account, download this Excel file. And if you unhide all these columns, you will see everyone exactly what we have where. This is just the total shares, but then it's also separated TFSA, non-reg, as well as our withholding taxes as non-residents. But there you have it, everyone. That's the portfolio. So capital wise, even capital wise, and this is not including the income, everyone, we're actually up 2.31%. Well, it's actually more than that because it was 40, right? 2.14. So I'll just update that. And of course, if you scroll left, this is where I actually calculate all the passive income and capital gains or losses realized that I do every year, by the way. And you could see that as of now, as of 2025, I passed $180,000 of passive income, which is absolutely incredible. So in terms of the yield, I'm over 40% now. Here you have the annual income, the monthly income, etc., the withholding tax, the expected tax refund of those withholding taxes. Again, TFSA, there's no taxes or anything like that, but in the joint cash account, all the dividends they have a 25% withholding tax because I'm non-resident, but the portion that's capital gains or ROC is returned to me. And this is why I try to put funds in the non-registered in the joint cash account that only give out capital gains or ROC. And that's currently the case. Over about 99% of them do. So this is why you see a $7,800 monthly tax, but I'm expected, or I'm calculating approximately, to get back most of it, 78.16 of it. So this is the monthly income net, which of course has grown since the last portfolio unveil for the reasons I provided. I even wrote a note there. It's because of the 200K USD released from the Panama visa process plus the LIRA merge. So pretty crazy, everyone. You have the totals here. You have the total of what's being generated from the TFSAs, what's being generated from the cash account or the joint non-registered, that is. And you have the stats here. So these are the portfolio returns lifetime. This is all realized stuff here, how much passive income I've earned over the years, total capital gains / losses realized. This is when you're trading or making moves, which of course is all tracked in the main portfolio tracker. And by the way, if you unhide all these columns, you'll be able to see 2024, 2025, etc. So this is just realized stuff. And the total of these two is this right here, etc. So that is it for the portfolio unveil, everyone. I'm really liking this new portfolio. Again, the majority or the core is always going to be in top quality US big cap equities or indexes, right? Again, these three I kind of see as my S&P 500. These two I kind of see as my NASDAQ 100 unit. And HHIS I kind of see as mostly it's concentrated version of the NASDAQ 100, but you have Lilly in there, Coinbase in there, a couple of other things. So I also see it as, kind of like a diversified US equity position as well. So these are my 6 main positions. Here you have my 3 Bitcoin positions, which now makes up about 18-19% of my portfolio. And I do see myself continuously investing at least $5,000 to $10,000 a month in Bitcoin position, just getting a lot more bullish on it personally. And then you have a little bit in this one here as well. So if you want to follow my portfolio live, by the way, make sure to download Blossom. I am on the Blossom app. It's a very cool mobile app. They even have a desktop version now where you could upload your portfolio. So I'm there. My username is Adrian_PII. Make sure you download this application. It's really cool, and you could follow me. You could follow my portfolio live. I do have a link, an affiliate link, in the video description below, so make sure to check that out. Click on the link, download it. And by the way, in case you didn't know, Blossom is having tour events in 2025. They have one for Calgary, one for Vancouver, Toronto, Montreal, and even in New York. And guess what, everyone? I'm very pleased to tell you that I will be at the Toronto one and at the Montreal one. I am going back home, back to my hometown to visit friends or family, and I will be at the Blossom event in Montreal and in Toronto as well. So if you're in Toronto or you're in Montreal, you want to come and see me, make sure to get your tickets. There's still plenty of tickets available. You can meet, there's going to be a lot of ETF fund managers there, by the way. I know Harvest is going to be there, and Hamilton's going to be there. Global X is going to be there. So there's going to be a lot of other influencers as well. It's going to be really cool. So come down and meet me, get your tickets. I will be attending the Toronto and the Montreal events. So give me a thumbs up, guys. Like the video. I'd really appreciate it. It really helps the channel grow and to stay the video to stay trending. Thanks so much for your support, everyone. And again, just a disclaimer, not financial advice. I hope YouTube does not take this portfolio update video down. I really hope so. I'm doing everything in my power to, make sure everything is above board. So again, everyone, thanks so much for your support. Let me know if you have any questions, comments. Let me know if you see anything wrong or bad with my portfolio. The way I see it, I'm really liking it. And I'm just gonna, even if markets are at all-time highs, everyone, I don't care. I'm gonna keep investing, reinvesting as much as I can every single month. There's always gonna be a new all-time high, of course. So I'm in it for the long term. I am a long-term income-oriented investor. Take care, everyone. See you next time.